Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And this is a match preview ahead of Chelsea versus Liverpool. Absolutely massive game ahead. And I know I didn't really do match previews last season, but I'm back with them. Super excited with hopefully like a cooler look as well. I'm currently on vacation, so hence the background. Hopefully the quality is still okay and just trying to make do with what I have. But we're going to get into this video. So going through Poch's presser, injuries, team news, predicted starting 11, score prediction, touching on Liverpool as well. If you like my content, if you like this video, make sure to drop it a like. Let's see how many we can get. Sub to the channel because there's plenty of content coming your way. And let's get into this video. So first, we're going to be talking about the Poch presser, and he said a lot of really interesting things. I just love how he speaks. And one of the key things that he talked about was how much work the team and him have been putting in. So they've been putting in 14, 15-hour days, getting to Cobham around 6:20, 6:30 in the morning, and then not leaving until 8, 9 p.m. So they're having multiple training sessions a day. But I also think a lot of this is just team building and building the mental side of that as well. And one of the things that he said was that he loves to lead by example, and he must lead by example, so that the players see it. It's not just him demanding this of them, but also him setting the example for them, so that it's really a united front and a united unit. So I really, really loved that. And one of the other things that he said that really struck a chord with me was just how much he highlighted to the fans and how important they are to the club. He really wants to bring Chelsea back to the best level and see us playing really beautiful football as well, scoring goals and putting on a performance for the fans, which is always, always good to hear. So now let's talk a little bit about the injuries. There's quite a few in this Chelsea team. I don't believe that Liverpool have any injuries at the moment. So Broya and Badiashile are close to making a full return, potentially could make the bench. I'm not sure if it might be a little bit too early. I don't think that they're going to be starting or thrown into a starting 11, but they are really close of making a full recovery from their injuries. And Chalaba's out injured. I'm not sure the exact amount of time that he's out, but he's currently in his recovery process. And then, of course, we have the two really long-term injuries, which is just an absolute blow with Nkunku having to have surgery. He's going to be out for around 4 months, and we should see him back around January time. And Fofana, I think, is a torn ACL, so I think he's out for basically the majority of the season, which is really unfortunate. I also realized that Madueke had been out injured. He had a hamstring issue, so that's why we haven't really seen so much of him in preseason. And it seems that he's basically back to full fitness. I don't think that he's going to be necessarily starting, but should be available to make the bench. In terms of Chelsea news, there has been a load going on. I'm recording this on 5 p.m. on August 12th, just to give you guys a sense of the time, because I know that the news travels so quickly. The last news video I put out, literally recorded it, and the second that I posted it, the news had already changed. So just to give you guys a warning about that. But we've seen today, one of the key talking points is that Kepa might be loaned to Real Madrid. Not sure if there will be an obligation or option to buy in that deal, since Thibaut Courtois is out injured for essentially the entire season as well. So I don't suspect that we're going to see him in the starting 11, or perhaps even in the team in any capacity. And it'll be interesting to see what goalkeeper Chelsea go with. Other news, of course, Lukaku and Hakim Ziyech still haven't been sold. To my knowledge, neither are training with the team. I think Lukaku is training solo at Cobham after his move to Inter Milan fell through. Now the move to Juventus fell through. So not sure what exactly is going to be happening with that, but neither of these players even have a squad number with Chelsea. So I don't suspect to see them anywhere close to the starting 11. So now we're going to get to my predicted 11. So I'm just going to add my cool graphic here. Hopefully this works okay. And in the starting 11, I'm predicting Robert Sanchez to start. Chelsea just acquired him from Brighton for about 20 million. I do think for the short term, at least, he's going to be Chelsea's starting goalkeeper. Like I mentioned, I think Kepa looks like he's on his way out, especially with the wages that he's on. I think Chelsea probably want to get him off of their books. I'm not sure if we're going to be looking to signing an additional goalkeeper or kind of just stick with him. Interesting because he hasn't really trained with the team so much. Obviously, Kepa played every preseason game for the most part. So he, I think, will be starting. And then looking at the defense, I feel that it kind of picks itself for the most part just due to the amount of injuries that Chelsea have. So Reece James coming back into that right back spot. I fully expect to see him starting, Chelsea's new captain as well. So I think that he's going to be getting as many games as possible, essentially, given that he isn't injured. And then on the left-hand side, Ben Chilwell, I think, is just so important to this Chelsea team. And I think what we're going to see here and what we've been seeing in preseason is that Reece James is instructed to stay back a little bit more, and Ben Chilwell is given the freedom to bomb forward. And I don't think that's to say that we're not going to see Reece James get forward, but I think just in order to have like that extra layer of defense, since Chelsea are going to be playing a back four instead of a back 3/5. And hopefully this is a little bit better on Reece's body as well, because we know that he really struggled with injuries last season, but the previous seasons as well, he's been out through injury for a couple of weeks or months at a time. So hopefully this isn't as much stress on his body. In the center back spot, the only one that I was maybe a little bit like up in the air about was if Thiago Silva starts. I do think that we're going to see him starting, especially to have some experience in what I think is going to be an otherwise pretty young team. Chelsea have just signed Axel Disasi, Axel Disasi, but I don't think that he's going to be starting this game. I don't think that Poch is going to necessarily just throw him into a Premier League game versus Liverpool from the beginning. So I think he's going to lean on the side of experience for that one. Like I said, there's not so many options because Chalobah is out injured, Fofana is out injured. So I do think that Thiago Silva is going to have that starting spot. And then on the left center back spot, who else starts but Levi Colwill, especially since Badiashile is out injured. But I think that Colwill is going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, Chelsea's starting center back. And he looked really good in preseason. He made one mistake, conceded a penalty. I think it was versus Brighton, actually. I think that was the game that I was at. But other than that, he's looked really strong, and keep an eye out for how he just pings balls. He has a really good range on those long balls. So I think that's going to help unlock defenses as well. Looking at that midfield partnership, I think we might see Andre Santos start and partnered with Enzo Fernandez. This will allow Enzo to get a little bit further up the pitch and hopefully operate more of an 8 rather than a 6. Of course, we want to see Chelsea make the signing of Caicedo from Brighton. Like I said, at the time of recording this, Chelsea still have not gotten that deal over the line, and we really need that kind of profile. Tyler Adams' deal has fallen through as well. We might also be in for Lavia and buy him for around £50 million, I believe. So there's a lot of potential options, but I think otherwise, like this position could be a little bit light, but I think like Andre Santos has impressed so much. I think that he might very well get the start. And then in that 10 role, I've put Conor Gallagher, and I think, again, it's a young squad. Gallagher, of course, himself is young, but I think that Poch is going to opt for a little bit more of seniority in the team or experience. Conor Gallagher obviously has a year under his belt at Chelsea, and he had the loan at Crystal Palace. So I think he's going to opt for him. I wouldn't be surprised necessarily to see Chukwuemeka starting, but I think given it's against Liverpool, maybe he's going to rely more on the senior players, and then depending how the team gets on and how the game goes, potentially bring on Chukwuemeka. And this is the position that I think Nkunku would have been playing had he been fit, which is a bit unfortunate. But I do think that we're going to see Conor Gallagher in this game. And then going into the attack, I've opted to start Mudryk on this left-hand side, and I'll get a little bit into the reasons why in a second, but let me just show my right-hand side. So I think that we're going to see Raheem Sterling start. I don't think that he's had a good preseason. I don't think that he has shown the player that he can be. He's tended to run into players, to lose the ball. He has that potential of having a moment of magic and kind of creating something from nothing, but I just don't know if we're going to see it. I hope that we see it. But the reason for starting Sterling, again, so you have some experience on there. We could potentially see Ian Maatsen starting in that left wing spot ahead of Mudryk. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. And I wouldn't be upset to see it either. I think that he's had a really strong preseason and he's combined well with Nico Jackson, which brings me to my starter. Obviously, he just had an incredible preseason, scoring, I think, like 3 goals, 3 assists, something like that. But I think that we're going to see Sterling come in again to add some seniority to the team. I'm not sure if Mudryk can necessarily play on that right-hand side. I think him and Ian Maatsen both tend to play on the left, so there's a little bit of competition for spots there. But Ian Maatsen can really play in the midfield as well. He can also play at left back, so he's very versatile. So if we don't see Mudryk, I think that we probably will see Ian Maatsen starting, but that's my starting 11. I would typically maybe have started Madueke ahead of Sterling if he were fit. And I think if Sterling doesn't have the best starts to the season, we're going to see that come to fruition. So should be a really, really interesting game. Chelsea looking a little bit light in certain areas, but the window isn't over yet, and hopefully we'll have some players coming back from injury, and that's going to be massive for us. As for a score prediction, I was looking a little bit into like the history between Liverpool and between Chelsea, and it's really crazy because in each of the last 6 games in the league and the cup, it's been a draw. And in the last 4 games, it's actually been a 0-0 draw, which is really crazy to think because I feel like both of these teams have goals in them, especially Liverpool. So the fact that we've drawn 0-0 the past 4 times is pretty shocking to me. Obviously, Liverpool didn't have their best season and they're reconstructing their midfield as well, as we know, going for very similar players as us. They've had a pretty decent preseason as well. The results were a bit of a mixed bag. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the strongest Liverpool team ever. We know that the defense could be shaky, so potentially there could be goals in this game. But I think Chelsea's defense could also be shaky as well. So I am going to predict a 2-2 draw. Obviously, I would love to see Chelsea win at Stamford Bridge. So like my head is saying like, yeah, let's win 3-2 or 2-1. But realistically, I think that there's going to be goals for both sides. And for the first game of the season against Liverpool, you know, having so many players out injured, having a bit of a wrench thrown into it as well with all of that preseason planning, and then Nkunku being out injured, I would take a draw. I want to win, but I would take a draw. So that's basically where my head is at. What do you guys think of the game? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know down in the comments and let me know how you like this video. I'm just recording straight on StreamYard, but in the future, hopefully I'll just record on my phone or on a camera as well. But I think the graphics actually worked out pretty nicely here. So hope that you guys like this video and hope that you have a great rest of your day, weekend, whatever time you're watching this. And until next time, I'm out. Bye.